Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. I know the wait for Dark and Darker has been absolutely miserable, at least for me, but one thing I did find interesting, if you haven't yet, I strongly suggest checking out the dev Q&A. It is on the Discord, official Discord for Dark and Darker, and it actually has a lot of, I would say, very interesting or unique answers to some of those questions. The one kind of main thing we're going to be checking out today from that Q&A is the thought or the idea of a different game mode. So let's get right into this Q&A. So the question is, the one I want to focus on is, will there be any PvP modes? And the answer, which follow up is, it's the early days so we can't say anything definitively, but something like a tournament held at a specific time would be interesting. Now, I fully agree. I think that would be very interesting. And I just want to allude to the fact that they just kind of generically asked about PvP modes. And tournament must be something that's been on their mind for a little while, as he was willing to give up that information. Normally you just get, we're working on some things. So I actually think that tournament might come a little earlier than a lot of us think. And I would like to compare this to and just show you guys some of what Bannerlord 2 is doing with tournament modes. In my opinion, Bannerlord 2, the best part of the single player game, is actually going into the cities, at least early on, and competing in these tournaments. As you can see here, this is some tournament gameplay from Bannerlord 2, and I'm surrounded by a bunch of men swinging my sword. Now, one thing that Bannerlord 2 does is that it actually gives you random weapons. So, depending on the city, the location, basically the map is somewhat randomized. It doesn't really change much, but the weapons change every time. So you could be on a horse, you could be with a bow. I don't think Dark and Darker would specifically force you to use random weapons for every tournament. But the idea of a tournament is they can basically change a lot of these settings and throw maybe multiple Sunday tournaments or something along those lines. But the one thing that Bannerlord 2 does as well is betting per round. And you can spectate these tournaments. So those are two big things I think should be included in Dark and Darker, because it'd be absolutely hilarious to be betting on your friends. Not simply because the betting is that amazing, but just the fact that the pride and, I got money on this game kind of thing, it'd be hilarious. Another thing to consider is that they say in the answer that it'd be a single kind of timed event. So if you could imagine players gearing up, getting all their single player runs in, 3-player party runs in, trying to kill bosses, get some gear, and then basically throwing themselves into a tournament, I think that'd be pretty cool. Now what they could also do is, if they limit the loot, or what you can bring in, so it's kind of an even playing field, another interesting idea, because then you're giving everyone a chance. It's not just the highest geared players or the stacked 3-man groups coming into tournaments. So there's options there, and I think it'd be incredibly exciting, whether it's gearing up or simply going in with green gear. Another addition would be simply class-specific tournaments. So like a fighter-only tournament, a mage-only tournament. I would definitely partake in some of those. One final comparison to Bannerlord 2. The reason why you do most of these tournaments early on in Bannerlord 2, or at least even throughout the game, is because the gear is so incredibly good. You can get some incredible stuff early on if you win these tournaments. And if you have an unrealistic setting, it's not easy. So in Dark and Darker, if you could imagine doing a fighters-only tournament with a purple or maybe even a legendary longsword at the end of it, I would definitely be competing in those. I think it'd be so intense. And not only that, it'd just be plain hilarious to be able to watch even the guys that maybe you lose to, or have people that you're watching and kind of cheering on. Maybe your favorite content creator or streamer or whatever. It would be a real fun event that I think everyone could benefit from. If you're really struggling in pubs or in the PvE experience, or you're looking for more PvP, this is a great way to test the waters or get incredibly better and win some loot because of it. That is all I kind of wanted to discuss about this tournament mode or potential tournament mode coming to Dark and Darker. But I'd love to hear from you guys, explain or discuss what you think. There's a whole host of options with this, but I will leave you with this little bit of Spectator clip from Bannerlord 2. Another thing that was mentioned or flirted with a little bit was the thought of a spectate mode for people to watch spectate their friends in Dark and Darker. I don't really have a whole lot of those, so it doesn't really, entertain me that much. But I do love the spectate mode once I die in Dark and Darker. So here's a little clip from Bannerlord 2. I appreciate you guys all watching, and I hope to hear some feedback and some comments about what you guys think. What are some solid options, and if there's other stuff in that Q&A, definitely bring it up. It was an interesting read for sure. So cheers, have a good one, enjoy the new year.